Moco weapon tier list for chapter 2. Now this is an early days tier list, so I might do one at the end of towards the end of the chapter just to see how things change. But nonetheless, I'm going to kick us off with the Buzzkill, and it did receive a nerf for chapter 2, and it's terrible now, guys. I can't see a use case scenario for it. I think the bees are bugged that spawn with the Buzzkill. The attack animation's not there. I think they sometimes don't fire. I mean, the attack animation of the bees just freaks me out because they don't even move. They just sit there now and fire. But huge fan favorite in chapter 1. It was a great weapon, done loads of damage with the pet build and stuff, but it just fell off so hard in chapter 2. That's why it's getting an F tier. And then the first of the new weapons, the Hombo, I'm going to place in C tier. It's a bit unfortunate because I can't see any use case for this. I've done the first set of Nightmare dojos, a lot of rifts. You know, I've cleared all the dojos, and I don't think I've used this weapon once yet. It is a crowd control, can do nice damage if up close, but again, it is an early season tier list, everyone. So, I mean, we might find a use case for these later on into the chapter when the meta changes. But for now, new weapon, unfortunately, is going in C tier. And then we've got the Poison Bow, and I don't know why the Poison Bow icon's tiny, but hey, I'm going to put the Poison Bow in B tier because I've got faith in this weapon. Like, I tested it in a dev build before chapter 2 was released, and I was getting some decent numbers in the test zone. And I think with a little time, a little patience, we can get a decent build for this. Maybe late game. Like I said, it still is early in the chapter, but you can get some good numbers with the laser and the passive crit ring and stuff. You can get some good numbers coming up on the screen with that when the poison goes off. It does proc the laser, the poison, so you can get some good numbers. So I'm putting it smack bang in the middle for B tier for now, with a bit of faith that it might get bumped up in tiers later on into the season. And then we've got the next new weapon is the Singularity. Now I don't know whether this is better than the Hombo. I think it is. I'll put it in C tier above the Hombo. Again, I'm gutted because the mechanics of this weapon is fantastic. Like, it allows your gadgets to cool down when you use them. I think that's a super cool mechanic. I just feel as though this weapon should have been a range weapon instead of a melee weapon. A bit like the Technoris. I think it should have been a single target glove range weapon, and I think it would have better use case scenarios inside the meta. But like I said, it's early days. Might get bumped up a few tiers towards the end of the chapter, but it's unfortunate. Two brand new weapons there, like C tier, not used that much. Hopefully, if they don't get some use, they get a buff for chapter 3. Then we've got the Medicine Ball. Like, this is always a tough one because obviously it's a melee healing weapon, and then you've got the Staff of Good Vibes, but I always think the Staff of Good Vibes is just better for healing. You're either going to tank or you're going to heal. So if you're going to heal, you're going to use the Staff of Good Vibes. So I'm going to put the Med Ball in F tier so far. Again, it's a weapon I've not used so far in chapter 2, and I've done a lot of things, completed a lot of dojos and stuff. So it's going in F tier. And then we've got the Toothpick and Shield. Now I'm going to put the Toothpick and Shield in A tier solely because you need a tank for a lot of the Nightmare rifts and the hard rifts, and it's the only tank build in the game, really. It's the only tank weapon. It's got good stats and things that lets you tank really well, and it's only going in A tier because, well, I'll explain why later on in the video when we get that, but I'll put it in A tier for now. I'll explain why later in the video. And then we've got the Technoris, good old Technoris, really good weapon in chapter 1, still a really good weapon in chapter 2, so I'm going to bump that in S tier. I'm going to put that up there. It's probably one of the most played 3 weapons in chapter 2 so far. So that's going to be the first S tier weapon for chapter 2. And then we've got the Speedshot. I'm going to put that ahead of the Technoris because the Speedshot done a lot of things in the game. Like I previously said, the Speedshot for the rifts and things did take a bit of a nerf in the balance changes. I think it was a 10% damage reduction, but it's still like one of the go-to weapons for most of the rifts in the game now, especially with the rings and the passives and stuff. It just pairs really well with a lot of things inside of the game, and it's a fan favorite in chapter 2 so far, and it is a go-to weapon. This is why it's going in S tier. And now the Spinsicle, I want to put that in A tier as well, ahead of the Toothpick and Shield. And this is why I was saying I put the Toothpick and Shield in A tier, not S tier, because as you get higher in levels, there's a lot of things, a lot of risks and things you can tank in the game using the Spinsicle. Now, yes, it is level dependent, but nonetheless, you're still getting that extra damage from the Spinsicle, and it is still a handy weapon. You can complete the dethronement dojos normal hard, and nightmare with the Spinsicle. You can get good builds for it. It's good for world farming. Like the Speedshot, it's just like the Speedshot, guys. It is a versatile weapon. You can use a lot of passives and gadgets and things and rings with the Spinsicle. And like I said, once you get high level, it's a really good weapon to tank for, with inside of rifts and things. And then we've got the Wolf Stick. Now this did receive a buff in the balance changes, and I'm just torn whether I'm going to use it more than the Singularity and the Hombo. I think I'll put the Wolf Stick in C tier because it did get a bit of a buff. It's still not the greatest weapon. I mean, this is just PvE based as well, guys. I'd never ever play PvP in Moco, so let me know in the comments if it's still good in PvP. I know in Chapter 1 I played a little bit of PvP, and the Wolf Stick was really useful there. But I just think it's still lacking for PvE side of things. Yes, you can do the tag team dojo with the Wolf Stick. Obviously, you get the wolf. It keeps the Q-Do distracted. But I don't know if it is enough to bump it up to B tier with the 10% buff. I think it received in the balance changes. And then we've got the Monster Slugger, which did receive a buff. Now, I'm going to put it in B tier. Now, I don't know whether to put it in front of the Poison Bow. I think I will. I think I'll put it in front of the Poison Bow for now. Just because you can complete the Catch Me If You Can dojos, normal, hard, and nightmare with the Monster Slugger. Super easy. Actually does really good damage, the Monster Slugger, as well. But it is a melee weapon, so, you know, I always favour range weapons. I like keeping to the back and doing my damage from a distance. But it is a melee weapon. Did get a nice buff with the balance changes. And like I said, it is early on inside the season, so this list could change towards the end, my friends. So I'm going to bang the Monster Slugger in B tier, just ahead of the Poison Bow. But like I said, I've got faith in this Poison Bow, guys. And then we're moving on to the Portable Portal. Now, is this better than the Speedshot at the moment? I don't know, but I'm going to put it right in the middle of the Technoris and the Speedshot. Was a S tier back in Chapter 1. Still at S tier now. Obviously, when you get that charge up with the Portable Portal and it uses your gadgets you've got in the 3rd slot, still a really good weapon. Did receive a buff. I think it's a longer charge up time now to use your gadget. But it's still a really good weapon. Great for some of the dojos. Great for some of the reefs. Very, very versatile weapon. So that's going in S tier. And then we've got the Staff of Good Vibes. And I'm going to put that in C tier. Because like I say, I do think it is a better healing weapon than the Medicine Ball. But it's still like Chapter 1, guys. You don't get many healers inside of rifts so far. Now, I still have some nightmare rifts to do, but from what I've heard and talking to my friends and things, it's still the tank and DPS builds. I know the team wanted to try and force, you know, more versatile builds inside for rifts and stuff with healers and things. Hence some of the nerfs we did receive in the balance changes and some of the changes with the rings and stuff. But I just think you don't need it as much as you need the Toothpick and Shield. But it is a better healing weapon than the Medicine Ball. And then we've got the CPU Bomb. Now, I'm going to put that in B tier. I'm going to put that behind the Poison Bow because it's great in some dojos. Again, normal, hard, and nightmare. And then, obviously, there's a rift where, the Grand Librarian rift, where you can just hide behind a wall, use the CPU Bomb. It did get some damage increase with the balance changes. But I'm just going to put it in B tier because I was deciding on high C tier or low B tier, but I think I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because I've been having fun. The times I have used the CPU Bomb, I've had fun with it, and it is a fun weapon to use. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of a treat there and put it in low B tier. And then lastly, we have got the Jaded Blades. Now, I think I'll put this in low B tier as well, ahead of the CPU Bomb or behind the CPU Bomb. You know, I'm going to put it behind the CPU Bomb because I've not used the Jaded Blades much inside Moco Chapter 2. I just think they do good damage. They do good damage for a melee weapon, but you've got to have the right rings on as well to get the damage up. And then again, it's a melee weapon, so you're right up close and personal, and you're susceptible to taking damage. But you know, it does good damage. I'm going to put it in low B tier for now. I was nearly putting it in C tier. But yeah, I just want to keep this tier list short and sweet because they do go on a long time, usually, tier lists. So that's why I'm keeping it a bit short. But you guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think. If I've missed anything, if you change anything let me know, because there's nothing like a good tier list to spark controversy inside the community. But that's the tier list I'm going with for now. Probably do another one towards the end of chapter 2 to see how things have changed and to see how right I was with this tier list. So we'll catch you, hunters, in the next video.